Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony along with Chris, Leon, and a special guest. And this is episode 56 of Hard Knock Hawks. This is the podcast where we talk about our favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks, and sometimes other stuff in the NBA too. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about our New Year's resolutions for the Hawks on our last episode of the year, what we hope to see improve for the Hawks, and other major changes in direction for the Hawks for the future. But let's introduce our special guest for today. You can find him on Bluesky at Jonesy2x4 and on the podcast ATL29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. Tyler, what's up, Tyler? How are you doing on this New Year's Eve today?
Well, I'm doing okay. I forgot about something that I had a workout schedule because I'm old. I gotta do group workouts or whatnot, but I forgot I scheduled one and I ate before, so I almost threw up during that. So like I'm feeling better now, but yeah, no, I'm washed, I'm unk status, so it is what it is. But like when you get like that's the thing you gotta realize when you get older, you gotta eat at set times or it's just gonna throw your day off. So yeah, I remember that the hard way, but other than that, I'm good. Other than the Hawks about to play, and like I might watch them. I don't know. It depends. It depends on how this conversation goes. Maybe you guys can bring the optimism back for me.
Well, they're about to play the Timberwolves in 28 minutes as we speak. So we may talk about the game a bit as we're watching this because I'm going to try to watch it live, but I don't know. We'll see. KP's back. He has a really good net rating on the team, and we're going to talk about that on the podcast. But first, we're going to talk about your opinion on like Trae coming back, because that is obviously the main story that everyone talks about on Twitter, Bluesky, wherever you are. Since Trae has come back, he has a negative 2.6 net rating. He has shot the ball well, 40% from three, 20.8 points, 10 assists. He's doing, I think, a bunch of the stuff that you want to see him do well. But despite that, they have lost all 5 games he's played. And like I mentioned before, he has a negative net rating. So do you think generally, like, what's your thoughts on Trae being back so far? And despite obviously playing well, like stat wise, the Hawks losing.
I mean, it's tough. Like I feel bad for Trae because he's currently the basketball player that the media was deriding him for being when back in 2020 through 2022 when he was legitimately during those 3 years, that 3-year run where he was legitimately one of the 10 to 15 best basketball players in the sport. This is like, to me, this isn't a 5-game sample or a 7-game sample. This is a 3-year sample of like, if I'm gonna break it down, to be honest with you, Trae Young's inability to finish at the rim. Like, and it's like he used to be a more explosive downhill driver than what he is now. And because he's not that anymore, it's the offense just isn't good enough at his price point, considering his defensive foibles. Because like the bigger issue isn't really even Trae. Like with Trae, without Trae, it doesn't matter. But that's the point. Like Trae it kind of just doesn't matter if he plays or not, because the Hawks are just too small. Once again, another year where the Hawks injuries happen and magically they're too small. But why are they too small? Part of it has to do with Trae Young being 6'1", 150 pounds. Like, he doesn't help on the defensive glass, and he doesn't help as a rim protector or as an all-ball defender. And, like, when the Hawks have injuries to their good physical defenders, whoever they be on the roster, he can't compensate for that defensively. That's why they're losing. It's not necessarily him, though. It's like they don't have another center until KP came back. But yeah, like I feel like it's not Trae's fault, but the counter is that he's not helping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously his offense, as I mentioned, is just I think has been like he's been efficient. He's been doing the things I think you want to see. He's been trying to move off ball and stuff more lately, but despite that, it's still just not enough right now. And Leon, I know you have like thoughts about this. You haven't been on the podcast in a minute, so and you've been on Twitter. You've been giving your own thoughts on like the whole situation. 5 games isn't like a big sample size at all, but what's your general thoughts on this? Because I think this has been like a really interesting topic.
And I think Tyler said it in a great way, is that we're at a point now where it doesn't matter if Trae Young plays or not. And if you're paying a guy $45 million a year or $40 million a year, or even less than that, it has to matter whether or not he plays. It has to. It has to be a tangible, or like the casual fan should be able to tell that this team looks different when this guy's on the floor. This team is clearly better, even if they're terrible to, because there was a time where the Hawks went from terrible to average when Trae was on the floor, and there have been times where the Hawks went from average to good when Trae was on the floor. But now Trae's on the floor, and it just not changing anything. At worst, it's not changing anything. I mean, at best, it's not changing anything. At worst, he's actively making the team worse. It's clearly not that he's making the team better. They've lost 5 games. He hasn't won a game since October. I know he was hurt a lot of that time, but he hasn't won a basketball game. He hasn't worn a jersey and won a basketball game since the middle of October.
And it's not like the Hawks have been playing like these. I mean, they're not playing OKC Thunder every night, you know.
I mean, yeah, they lost to some good teams, and they lost to some teams they should have beat.
They got. I mean, just remember how the Bulls and the Hornets games, just those last 3 minutes defensively with Trae just getting bodied. Particularly the Bulls. Like the Bulls were bullying him. I'm like, bro, you got lapped by Josh. Josh Giddey's a better basketball player than him. That hurts for me to say, man. I don't like to give no credit to an archetype of player like Josh Giddey, but when Josh Giddey can just push the "I'm just bigger than you" button and get a layup because the floor is spaced, and then Trae's got to do 18 different moves to put up a 30-foot 3-pointer. I'm like, bro, this ain't it, man. It's just not it. It's tough to watch, man. It hurts me because this old Trae will not allow for no damn Josh Giddey to embarrass him like that. Like, if this was 2021, Trae Young would have sunned Josh Giddey, would have told his mom he's a B word, would have told the entire crowd it's his city, would have put up 50 on him. He had a good game. Like, he put up 30, but like a good game now for Trae is like 30 points on like good efficiency. Elite Trae was putting up 45s, putting up 50s, getting to the free throw lines 15 to 18 times a night. It didn't matter who was guarding him. Now he can't get by anybody. So that's why I'm like, okay, he's a good game manager, but I'm not like, for the price point that the Hawks are paying him, they can't acquire like depth pieces at more like impactful positions. Like, you need a bigger center. The Hawks need a bigger center who's healthy, instead of what they're getting from KP and N'Faly Dante. And they need like more like athletes. Like, they need athletes, need bigger players who play more physicality, who are skilled, but those players cost money. And unfortunately, Trae's taking a big chunk of the cap there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris, because I think you're like, I mean, I feel like for me, it's like I'm not at this point like anti-Trae, but I'm more of a Trae skeptic, like at this point, obviously because of things like the net ring and the fact that he isn't really elevating the team like you would expect at this point, considering how well he's playing right now. So, well, what do you think of all this generally?
Well, I mean, I do think it's fair to say, especially this version of the Hawks, that Trae Jalen is giving you a lot of that impact that Trae was before, right? You have a lot more playmaking baked into the roster. There's a lot. There's Jalen Johnson giving you really efficient play. There's a lot more shooting. So they don't need him the same offensively, and he doesn't fix their issues, right, of not having the athletes and the size. So I think that might be one of the things, right? Because for me, it's the like I brought this up in one of my group chats. I likened it to the Falcons, like finally drafting like pass rushers and like committing to like fixing their D line because it's like an organizational buy-in philosophy where you have to like commit to bringing in athletes like year in year out, and it's like a draft thing. Like they haven't really been targeting those guys in the draft, the big strong athletes. They haven't like really been bringing in those types of players over the years. So they just don't have them at this point. And Jalen's like the only real specimen you had. And there was a time where you could put Jalen on somebody, and I was like, okay, Jalen, make it a little tough for him, but we're not seeing that. So for this team to really get better, they do have to get bigger and stronger and more athletic. And Trae is not that. It's just not that's not his trick in the game. I don't know that the point guard really makes or breaks it, but when you are as vulnerable as the Hawks are, you probably do need all hands on deck, right? You need to defend with 5 guys connected that can make their rotations and do their thing. I will say the Hawks need more depth to do that, right? The guys were getting ran ragged with how they were having to play during that stretch when they were winning. There's a lot of tough defending, getting out and running. And you need more legs for that. So if they do move on from Trae, I hope they do commit to bringing in the types of players that you need to defend at a high level. I don't know that it's like really complicated to an extent, right? You just kind of have to commit to bringing in big, strong guys. And it's like every year in the draft, I feel like we talk about who we want. I'm always like, no small guard. And someone over 6'6" that is strong and athletic can play defense, and they haven't really brought in any of those specimens. So hopefully soon we can get those guys. There's some guys in the draft that look really good at the top. There's people looking at the scores, and I'm looking at Caleb and Jaden. They look like guys that could really help transform your defense. So that's where I'm at. I just hope they commit to really stocking up in the wing, the forward, the front court, because I think if you're building around Jalen Johnson in this next era, you need a center that's going to be impactful and can kind of control the game defensively.
Yeah, I agree with you because I do think that like the front court defense has been an underrated weakness for this team for a big minute now, and we've seen like the depth being really pushed. And we're going to talk about KP coming back in a minute, since it's been almost a month since he's last played. So I'll go ahead and just talk about that now, since, if you look at all the stats, KP has a plus 1.9 net rating. He's only played 13 out of 34 games. He's literally the most impactful starter on this team that isn't an impactful player on this team, that isn't, just a bench player or anything. So despite that, there's all these questions about whether or not he's even going to play 30 or 40 games. So hopefully, obviously, with him having POTS disorder, you would think with him coming back, they maybe manage to like find a way for him to like condition better and stuff like that. But I'll just go back to you, Chris. Like, do you think the Hawks should just continue having KP like past the deadline right now, 2026, or you think they should just find a way to just trade him in the future?
I don't want the money to just expire on the roster, and I don't know that you can really depend on him to be available at any point, like for a long stretch, right? And we were talking about this a few episodes ago, like the difference with the AD rumors coming up and about how you manage AD versus managing KP. And you just like, there will be days where he might not be able to get out of bed or stand up straight or whatever the side effect of that disorder is. So for a team that like desperately needs something from that 30 million, I feel like they'd be better off with any big that's like available every night. And you should move on if you have a chance for sure. I'm all for hoarding picks. I have no problem with that because I think the Hawks need to retain draft assets. But if you can move KP for something cheap, go ahead and do that. Yeah.
I mean, the thing I question about like moving KP is with how much he's missed this season, do you think we will be even able to like get anything valuable right now?
I mean, it depends on who, right? Who you're trading.
He's a
Yeah,
big
that's true.
round. He's a big round number expiring contract. Like
30 million.
he has value off the strength of that alone. Like there will be teams that will mail their season in. You know, when you go on the standings about 2 weeks before the deadline, just look at everybody under us and say, okay, what are they about to do to their team moving forward, and see if you want to pilfer little pieces off that team, and that's probably what that trade looks like, unless you use him as a buy chip instead of just selling him off. But that's really just an AD conversation, which we really don't have to have. But he fixes some problems if he's healthy.
So my only disagreement is I would be perfectly fine with letting KP's money come off the books, clearing the deck a little bit more, just because we saw with being able to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the mid-level exception, you see how valuable it is to just have optionality in free agency, because there's always going to be a good basketball player available there. And for as much as Okongwu has flaws defensively, he is good. Like, it's fine to have him be your starting center if you have the requisite backup that you need, which is again a big center, which the Hawks currently don't have. So I'm like, what I would be worried about is trading KP for a guy who makes too much money in the next couple years. Because I'm still of the opinion, like, depending on where this draft pick lands, the Hawks can build a real contender here in the next couple of seasons. To me, the games without Trae, when the Hawks were like 13-10 without Trae before he came back, the biggest takeaway you had was when KP was playing was how big they were and how that impacted them defense. Like, it allowed them to get in stops, which allowed them to play in transition, play to Jalen's strengths, and like they looked really good. And like, to me, I'm like, let's not try to make it work. Let's not do everything we can to make it work with Trae Young anymore. That's kind of like my overall takeaway. That's where I'm like, let's be a little bit more. Let's be like, hey, if we can't find anything for KP, that's reasonable. Like, because I'm with you guys. Like, if you could trade KP for literally anybody who can just be there day in and day out, I'm with you. But I don't see teams just throwing giving the Hawks a freebie. Like, I can see a team like Portland being like, yeah, we'll give you Robert Williams, who's also injury prone. Or, I mean, that's why the AD conversation is coming up. It makes some sense in that the Mavericks get off AD's money, but I think AD, like, to me, with these groin issue, AD's got, like, I don't know how much long he got in the NBA. As I think he's on the Clint Capella archetype of he can be good, but I just don't know how you can rely on AD either. So like, the Hawks are kind of in a tough spot. That's where I'm like, okay, if it's this tough, just ride it out with KP. Hopefully he plays some more games here, and let's see what we can do from there in the offseason, because you know what you need. Like, it's not like we don't know what the Hawks are lacking. They lack big physical players. If you can find a way, if Trae decides to leave or they trade Trae and KP is no longer on the team, I do think there's a way for this Hawks team to pivot around Jalen to be a big physical team in the ways that, and what it takes to be a consistent winner in today's NBA. So that's why I'm like, if you can find a good deal for KP, sure. But if it's for like an AD type, that's why I'm like, man, that's a lot of money for AD, man. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant. If I could trust AD to play, sure, but I think those years are behind Anthony Davis as a basketball player.
Yeah, I agree with that because, like, people, I get it, and people that I see like that support the AD trade, they're gonna say, as long as he's healthy towards the playoffs, that it's gonna be fine. But AD even got injured like during Christmas, and you don't even know he may be possibly injured during then, so it could just be like a complete crapshoot. So at this point, it's just go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing is, Anthony, it's the same injury,
Yeah.
The same injury for the last couple of years now. Like, this is not a 1 year thing. Like, this ain't like, oh, my groin just started acting bad. Look, like I said, I'm 33. AD 32, man.
Lower body stuff stacks up.
Yeah.
It do. Especially if you're a taller basketball player like him. Like, we literally saw this with Clint Capella. Like, literally, like, the heel injuries he never recovered. He never recovered from his heel issues. And like, to me, I'm like, AD's going to have to change the way he plays, like, or he's just always going to have these injury problems. And like, I don't see how I don't see him being, if he does change the way he plays, being the same impactful basketball player that he was before, combined with the clutch thing. Like, I do think the clutch thing is a little, there are scenarios where AD is like, I'm not playing until I get a contract extension, stuff like that. Like, he will play that card, he'll play the Jimmy Butler card on you too. So that's why I'm like, man, if it's just for KP and Luke Kennard and maybe a first, sure, roll the dice. But if it's more than that, I'm like, Mavericks, keep it pushing.
Yeah. Well, it's all about if the price is right. You can go ahead, Chris.
No, yeah, it's all about the price for sure. I did kind of liken it in one of my group chats. I was like, when you're like used to getting Payless shoes like every year, and then your mom finally gets you some Jordans, and it's like the wrong brand of Jordans, but she still tried. Like, I appreciate the Hawks if they try. AD wasn't on my list. You can't depend on them, but hey, man, do whatever they want to do. Like I said, beginning of the season, the Hawks, go Hawks, just win, bro. Like, Auntie can build whatever he want to build. I'll ride it out. Let's see what they got.
It's a free money year, man. Free money. Shout out to the Pelicans. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I ain't risking nothing. I gotta see
that's true.
I get next year.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we're gonna do a rebuilding thing, or I can't make that decision until the lottery. I got to know exactly where I am and then who I get. And then, we can have conversations about a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then the thing about that is how many opportunities have you let slide by the time the lottery comes around?
Yeah. I mean, you're letting this, if you're waiting for a great deal in AD, you're probably letting this ship sink this season anyway. So It is what it is, but that would be a move. I assume that they would expect him to contribute the 2 years after that. Otherwise, why are you giving up a pick? And
why are you giving up a pick?
Yeah. But if you do, I'll put this in the chat. I was like, if you can bring in AD for a price that you like, and then you can bring in Jaden Quaidance or one of those guys better than him, that's a nice step towards fixing your defense. It's expensive, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. To me, I'm like, man, if it appears that the Clippers are good now, so unfortunately, Zubac is off the table, because Zubac would have been perfect. Honestly, he's just as good as Anthony Davis, and you don't have to deal with the clutch shit. I'm sorry, because you're not just trading AD for 2 years. His agency is going to be like, you got to sign him to a max contract extension at 34 years old, and I'm like, no, the fuck we don't. What? Who are you, Anthony Davis? Bro, you not top 10. This is me, man. This is the thing with a lot of these players, like Trae going through it right now, Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, Anthony Davis. Who else you want to put in this list of like guys who used to be top 10 to top 15, maybe even top 20
I mean,
players.
the Harden and Morey.
They came up in a
Morey
different.
is a liar.
They came up in like a different NBA. I feel like because like the money
They
just kept
did.
getting bigger and bigger, and teams were just like extension, and now everybody's like, this is like an NFL NBA all of a sudden, and they're like,
It's like
I
don't know if we
is-
can.
I mean, look at the Warriors.
We might have to talk about it. Yeah.
Look at the Warriors. They traded for Jimmy Butler, gave him the money, and it's like, what the fuck actually changed here? You know, if we talk about pure wins and losses, did we turn this into a contender?
Not much to nothing.
No,
definitely not.
The hell,
They believed it.
Shit.
They believed it after they their little 20-game stretch last season. At the end of last season, they had a little run. Shout out Atlanta native. Shout out Will Riker getting minutes on the Warriors, man. But
Cam Spencer.
No, Will Riker. No. How do they just get you? I mean, they have good basketball players, but I guess you fall in love with this. I'm gonna get 4 or 5 guys in my rotation that are undrafted players, and then when it really counts, they don't have the talent.
They're kind of like the Heat, like the Heat do it for different reasons, right? Because Pat Riley's a bully, so he needs like punks around that he can just like, you got to work out and do this stuff. But like Steve Kerr needs people like that specifically fit their system, and like regular basketball players are like, I don't want to do this. So they just got to get what they can get. It's been hard for them to fill that out over the years. That's why I said that whole run was luck, bro, because they don't even know what they're doing. Like they had lottery picks, and they just like, oh, this guy took this guy number 7. He doesn't fit anything that we want to do at all, and then we're gonna pay. Like they have no clue what's going on.
I mean, their system was Steph Curry being the best player in the sport.
I call Curry ball, bro. It's Curry ball.
That was the system, and then now that he's just one of the best basketball players in the sport, and that's the reality. Like that's the bottom line, bro. Like if you don't have Nikola Jokic,
one of them,
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it literally might just be those two. You are at the bit, and like OKC built the perfect basketball team because they got talent out the ass. But like just for the Nuggets are the only team that have the star talent that elevates the rest of the roster just because of how good. Primarily because all these dudes are good now. Like Michael Porter Jr. goes from Denver to Brooklyn, and like he's undeniably good now. Like he's undeniably like a 26, 6 and 6 guy. And it's just like, and people are surprised by that. I'm like,
third option. Look, man, I tried to sell him to the group chat. I was like, look, I think he might be able to give you fake first option numbers, bro. You just give him the ball because there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, I mean, but they had to clear the runway for 10.
For Zach? Nah, I don't.
His contract is just crazy. That's the problem. Most of the problem with Michael Porter Jr.
For MPJ, MPJ. If he was making less, I mean, he'd still be on the Nuggets. But
true.
No, I don't. Look, man, I don't think Zach is dictating anything the Hawks are or aren't doing. And he hasn't even before they drafted him. Like they did not give a fuck about that first overall pick, bro. They didn't care. Like if they can find a deal for Zach to get like more physical talent, they do it. But
then like why did we draft the kid?
They to me, they did that primarily because you can include him in a trade.
The archetype is
the archetype is. You see it in his impact
right now, man. Those Mavs fans are posting highlights of Zach.
Look.
His wings look great in highlights, man. They hitting threes. They getting dunks in transition. He's 6'10".
And they're hard to find. Like they are hard to find. Like, objectionably hard to find.
Good resale value.
Like to me, I'm like, because I mean, the thing about that draft is it fucking sucks. Like, and that's just something that people just need to acknowledge and accept. But if Trae wasn't on the roster, they'd probably take a different basketball player. That's also true. Like I
They
do
probably
think
take
that
Reed Shepard or Stephon
they
Castle.
take Reed or Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
I do.
crazy is they
Mahomes,
still went out
think
and
Trae, I think Trae impacted what they were doing in 04.
Yeah.
the funny
They probably
thing
take
is, like,
Reed.
you know how people are always like, don't take fit at the top because like and figure it out. By June or by January of that year, whichever position player they took was probably going to be starting somewhere on that team. It's just crazy. They really could have done anything they wanted. For me, as long as you don't pay them, you can still trade them and just find a deal that makes sense and get someone physical. And
Yeah, no, look, to me, I'm holding on to Zach just because he's still young and he's like not bad. Like he's not terrible. He's fine. That he's if he's going to be a star or not, like I never thought anybody in that draft was going to be that level of talent. You know, just and like there's a different levels. Like, oh, he's a star. Like I don't know what that means. The only star I see in this league is Jokic and like SGA on the Thunder. Like everybody else, like even Luka, man. Like this shit don't lead to no fucking wins, man. You think the Lakers winning like this? Yeah, I'm like, I'm just like, yo, man. That's why I'm saying 26 is when the franchise starts, bro. That's when they get their franchise player, no matter who it is, because this top 7 deep as hell, where it's actual impact players on both sides of the floor, which is so. This is how you got to win in today's league, man. So that's why I'm like, I'm not throwing Zach away. I still believe in him, but I do think I just think like the idea of it being the number 1 overall pick, like if Trae wasn't on the team and the Hawks were more willing to rebuild, honestly, Zach might even be a different basketball player than what he is right now too. So like it's just the Hawks are stuck in this damn quagmire until they make a decision on where they want to be as an NBA team. Like if they still want to try it out with Trae, like they're going to be stuck in this quagmire.
Well, let's just talk about this then, about rebuilding. So what do you consider as like the decision or just a rebuild generally for this team, basically? Since I've seen people on Twitter like talk about this, this topic just keeps popping up more and more and more. I heard about like a few years ago, like Trae DeJounte, but then, Jalen Johnson emerged and became like really good over the past few years. But now we're on a 7-game losing streak, could be 8 with this game that we're playing right now. So the word rebuild's like really interesting because it can mean like they could sell everything off, only have young players, or they could just rebuild around Jalen. So, Tyler, what do you consider to be like a rebuild for the most part?
I mean, a real rebuild would be one, firing Quinn Snyder, because Quinn has no interest in like young players failing, and like young players that aren't like immediate superstars just are not going to develop on an NBA floor unless they learn what they're good and bad at. And like, so that set that to the side. And also like Quinn, I think Quinn's both a good coach and like he hamstrings himself with the decisions he makes with his lineups. But that's a separate discussion. But to me, a rebuild is like either send Trae home or trade Trae. I don't know what they can even get for Trae Young. Like at this point, like I don't see the market. If he had a market, he wouldn't be on the Hawks. They would have traded him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of the reality of the situation. I mean, again, it's unfortunate for Trae that I do think injuries have played a role in his physical decline that haven't been written about, like because the Hawks don't have a heavy media presence. Because I mean, if you watch old highlight clips of Trae, he's a different basketball player. Like he looks like 36-year-old Chris Paul out there now. Like, and I'm like, it's just not gonna cut it.
And I just hearken the believers to realize that he's just not that guy anymore. And I know that hurts to say out loud, but that's what it is. Don't make the rules.
I mean, it's reality. He can't jump. Like, he can't jump on his jumper. He can't jump at layups. And so now it's just like, it's too hard for him to create separation. So, like,
Floaters,
that's
passing, and the worst mark in the NBA.
Yeah. And then to me, like, rebuild is like trade Onyeka because he does have value on that contract. You can get some picks for him. I would hold on to Jalen unless a team blew me away, but I wouldn't be like, I would wait till the lottery to see what happens on lottery night with Jalen, just because I again, injuries play a factor in how basketball players play basketball. Part of why Jalen's defense has slipped is because he doesn't do rim protection anymore. And like, when you have massive surgery, like a big time upper body shoulder surgery, it's probably why he doesn't protect the rim anymore. And so since he doesn't do that, you need a legit center who's going to like be an all-encompassing impact defender. And that's not Onyeka. So like, that's Jalen, I would consider it, but it starts with an organizational shift of, hey, we're moving on from Quinn. We're definitely moving on from Trae. And then Jalen is kind of like, he's in a holding pattern. But the good thing with this Hawks team is they've done the hard parts already on rebuilding and retooling, just because they got that Pelicans pick and they have the Cleveland Cavaliers pick in this draft as well. Like, they have an opportunity here to do a quick rebuild, primarily because of how good Jalen's been and how young he is. Jalen's good, young, and on a cheap contract. But again, I would consider trading him if the Hawks get the number 1 overall pick, just to completely clear the deck for who I want my franchise player to be.
See, I think that's a really interesting take, because when I consider doing that, because I mean, like, I don't know. What do you think, Chris or Leon? One of you can go.
You can go first, Chris.
Yeah.
It's complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the full rebuild and there's a Jalen like retooling, however you want to like phrase all that. The Jalen thing, you don't have, he's not 19, so you don't have like 4 or 5 years to like draft like a whole squad around him and then let those kids like grow and get good, right? You already paid him, and then he's a clutch client that's going to get paid again soon. And if you're like building through the draft, it depends on how aggressive you want to be, right? So if you're building through the draft, then you're probably going to end up trading Jalen at some point. So if you're going to trade him at some point, you might want to trade him sooner than later. So
yeah, just get all the picks you want now.
But if you're trying to be aggressive, right, and like do a quick retool around Jalen Johnson, I think it's possible. I think with that pick, you have another really good player coming in, but you would have to do a lot of things with the rest of the roster and really get in some physical vets, which are more expensive players. And it comes down to what Tony and everyone can really figure out, you know, in terms of the money. So for me, I like Jalen Johnson. I would like to see them build around him. It really does come down to how high that pick is in the draft. If you get the number 1 pick, I'm more likely to be fine with a full reset. But the closer it is to like 5, I'm like, I want to see that guy with Jalen first and then see what we can put around them. But yeah, I do agree that you probably, regardless of how you want to go, you probably need to trade 00 soon, because his contract is like most of that value, and he's going to ask you for a number that is going to be a lot higher than I think anybody wants to pay him, especially now that he can shoot. He's had some minutes on the floor. I think you can get some picks there, and then maybe you're more flexible. But you just signed Naw, right? So are you trying to build around Jalen and Naw, or are you going to just start flipping everybody? But it's like if you start flipping everybody, you can get a shit ton of picks. Like if you want to be OKC, right? If you really want to be OKC, sell everything. Right now, you have these guys on good picks. They're young, or good contracts. They're young. You can get a shit ton of picks, and you have a number 1 coming in. But Tony is impatient, so we'll see what they really decide to do.
Yeah.
And you already have Jalen Johnson, and it's hard for an owner to get rid of a star if they already have one. But yeah, if that pick is high enough, I think Auntie can convince him to maybe do anything, and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's going to come down to the lottery. If it's going to be a retool around Jalen or a complete rebuild. Like I'm with you on that.
Yeah, like this is, and nobody wants to. Everybody's kind of scared to have that conversation because a lot of fans have invested so heavily in the Trae Young era of Hawks basketball. But I don't think that. I think that you've set yourself up to where you're not going to be able to just we're going to sell Trae Young because what is that going to get you? And then retool around Jalen. I don't think that gets you there. I don't think that gets you to a championship. I think what you're seeing is what you're watching right now is these windows open. Like obviously OKC's window is wide open. They just won a championship. Wemby's here. He's 21. You know what that's going to be for the next 10 years at least. He's 7'4". So down the line, you expect him to have some issues as a 7'4" human being. He's obviously already had the deep vein thrombosis. He's coming back. It looks great right now. I'm not wishing anything on him, but just the timeline, like you should. I don't want to say it sounds like a cop out to say you shouldn't be trying to win right now. But if you're trying to win a championship at any point, you've got at least 3 guys who on their contracts have positive value today. Jalen on his contract have positive value today. And Yeko on his contract has positive value today. You can't trade Nall today because you just signed him a few months ago. But that has that deadline passed, or is it in the middle of January? Not that you have to trade him right now, but you can do the OKC thing. And I remember in the middle of the summer, everybody was like, "Oh, we need to be like OKC," and I was like, "Well, trading Trae is not going to get you like OKC. It's going to be trading Trae, trading Jalen, trading Double O, trading Nall. Even mess around." And Dyson is the guy I would keep because regardless of who you bring in, whether that pick is number 1, whether it's Peterson, Boozer, AJ, or even one of the point guards, like he'll add value to that, right? With his defense and everything else that he brings. Like
I said, he was the most untouchable player on the roster.
As far as establishing, if that's the identity that you want to establish, that's the player you hold on to.
Yeah, because if you are doing a rebuild, he fits next to like whoever you want to bring in, and you need that guy next to whoever you want to bring in. Because like I know a lot of people are like Darren Peterson. I'm like Darren Peterson is not going to be locking up at the top. You want him to be like your number 1 option. Like at best, maybe next man over. You still need Dyson Daniels to lock up, and you're gonna need a wing guy. But it's gonna be you still need pieces, right? So Dyson is a solid start for whoever you want.
And like Tyler has said on the interwebs, on the X many times in the last few weeks, the market inefficiency now is defense. Like it was 3-point shooting for a long time. The league corrected that. Now we don't draft anybody if they can't shoot. And if we draft you and you can't shoot, you gotta have like insane skills in other areas. Dyson Daniels, you know what I mean? So now it's like you have to defend. We've made it so difficult for teams to play defense, for individual players to play defense. And they said, okay, we'll just get this group, like we're just drafting all extremely, wingspan, height differential, dementors. That's what I call them. When their wingspans are insane, I call them dementors. And like they can't do anything with them. And they play that suffocating kind of defense. And obviously they're surrounded by an all-time shot maker in SGA, and they're gonna have an opportunity to win a number of championships. And if you are the GM of the Hawks, you have to look at that. And I think he has. It's funny. This is a funny thing. Travis Schlenk's first pick was John Collins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Auntie's first pick was
Asa.
And y'all know what I call Asa.
I hope it was Asa. I hope he had no part.
It was it.
And I call Asa Gen Z John Collins. It's just interesting that he started with obviously as a little more. I've explained that before, but he's a power forward, center, tweener. We don't know what he is. Can he play center? Can he play power forward? Can he play both? But he plays with more fluidity than John, and that allows him to be a different and I think more impactful player down the line. He's just going to have to put on weight, and we'll see how that frame fills out. But then moving on to the next couple years, if you're trying to build a champion, you're going to have to continue to add, as Tyler said, big physical players. Like the physicality of the game has ratcheted back up. The physicality of the game has ratcheted back up. It was the okay, the teams with the best skill are winning. That's how the Warriors got there. They won without, and even then, the myth has always been that team wasn't physical. Like Andre Iguodala, physical defender. Like Clay at his peak was a very good defender. Like he made an all defensive team. They had blistering centers and like Bogut. And I mean, I hate to say it, but like Zaza Pachulia was out there.
They were like a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I mean, they consistently. And then after a while, they just stopped caring about playing defense in the regular season. But, Zaza Pachulia went out and undercut Kawhi Leonard and changed the history of the NBA. So
sure did.
Here we are. So if you're asking me what's a rebuild is selling it all, minus 1 or 2 pieces, going scorched earth, hoarding the picks, and being the Oklahoma City Thunder. Anything other than that is just telling yourself we're still trying to win, in my opinion.
And I want to be fair to the still trying to win. They can still win. Like, to me, this team can still win. They saw the formula. It's defense. So acquire good defenders who either Quinn is willing to play or hire a coach that's willing to play the good defenders. Because part of the problem, part of the problem, let's be real here, is that Quinn has been like, yo,
you're good on defense.
No.
Got the ick.
You're good on defense. Ew. Yuck.
Sit down.
Literally, it's insane.
Oh man.
So that's where I'm like, we'll see. Like I still have hope for this team, like because they still have a lot of talent. Like that's what's frustrating. And some of these close games are been bad luck. Like it's the nature of playing close games. That's the problem. Because they don't have enough depth in their bench to extend their leads here.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see. I do think just to bring it back to this season, if all they want to do is just, they could decide to do nothing at the deadline. Maybe they add a center that doesn't require them to even trade Kristaps because I do think that the type of center they need is readily available in the league. They just, I think to me, Auntie's waiting for a deal to open up. That's, where he has the leverage. Because right now he doesn't have any leverage to make a deal. Like he'd be overextending himself to acquire somebody who's going to play 15 minutes a night. And that's like, it's probably not smart.
As Glenn always says, mid-season trades are incredibly difficult.
I have a question. Who do y'all think is pushing for the center the most? I think it might be Quinn Snyder. He is. His deal is up sooner than later, and if they don't win some games, he's not getting an extension. And if they draft this kid, they might just fire him and bring in someone for the kid, right? So, I think Quinn might be trying to win.
Ryan Schmidt. Welcome to the big leagues game.
Ryan Schmidt had these boys playing some defense, bro.
Yeah,
that's what I care about, man. Like,
what? We believe in you. It's just like what center? Like who's that guy? I don't know who that guy is. Like you said, the Clippers are good now, and Kawhi's found his 18th win, so they'll be good until he falls ill. But Jay Huff? You want Jay Huff?
No.
I mean,
they don't want Jay Huff.
Yeah. What would you do? I just don't like. It's just
let's
trade that readily available. Trade back for Clint Capella.
Is Capella even playing?
He makes less money.
If this was 2K, if this was 2K for sure.
Trade back
makes like
Capella,
5-10 mil less.
I wanted the Hawks. By the way, I really wanted the Hawks to go after Steven Adams. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Steven,
just not available now.
Yeah,
he's a winning player.
Yeah.
I wanted him. I wanted iHeart when he was on the market.
Yeah,
I mean, iHeart going to be on the market again, so that's why I'm like,
they can't pay him
the money. They can't
cannot
pay him. Let's hoard the money and sign.
I want it.
They
I
can't
want
pay him
Luke
at all.
Cornett. I want Luke Cornett.
Because if that's where the
Luke
KP
Cornett's
money
not
goes,
bad. Luke
if the
Cornett.
KP money goes to iHeart, I'm very much supportive of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what I was about to say, I think I'm probably just gonna end it here. So I guess, do we have any final thoughts before we close this out? The Hawks are currently leading by 5 points in the Timberwolves game. So there's a little, well, it's only first quarter, but good start for the Hawks right now. So Tyler, do you have any final thoughts? I'll go around the room. Last day of 2025. So final thoughts.
Final
for
thoughts
the year
is for the Hawks fans that are on the ledge. Their last 30 games,
it's a leap of faith.
Their last 30 games are chump. They're going to win, and you're going to feel hyped that, hey, maybe we're out of the play-in. That's not happening. Let me be clear. The Hawks will be in the play-in. They will be playing either the Heat or the Bulls. Just be ready.
The gang's all here.
Whether the Hawks are the 7th seed or the 9th seed is what the Hawks are fighting for right now. So it's kind of unfortunate that that's the case. But
all here, bro.
Get ready for that play-in magic. So that's
hang up our 4th play-in banner this year. Chris, you got any final thoughts? Last final thought for the new year before the new year starts?
I mean, not really. Just go Hawks, just win. I'm looking forward to see what Ansi does.
All right, Leon, you got any final thoughts?
One, basketball is a contact sport. So you need physical players. 2, late game offense, blah, blah, blah. And 3, don't get attached to things. Learn to let go.
You don't name the animals on a farm, right?
Remember the good times.
Don't remember the good times. Okay, we will look fondly back on the it was fun. It was entertaining, but we want to win a chip or we want to be entertained. All I want to know.
My final thoughts are Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, or Jaden Quintance. That's my final thoughts.
Hey, AJ kind of showing me something, so I don't know.
Yeah, I knew he'd come around. I knew he'd come around.
He's been good too. He's been really good.
He's still my
Shout out, be the best wing in the league one day.
Shout out to the Mormons, man. They fixed his game. They fixed his game.
Shout out to the Mormons.
He ain't got nothing to do out there.
Exactly. That's where he's supposed to go. You end up
locked in.
Man, I'm telling you, for real.
Oh yeah, there is a rule about that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he is locked all the way in.
Oh my god. But with that, thank y'all so much for listening to episode 56 of Hard Knock Hawks. Hope everyone has a happy new year. Hopefully we win this game. If not, I'll be sad. But we'll see y'all next time. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Streak, 8's a streak,
Oh my god. Have a good one.
Go Hawks.
Oh.